Hello and welcome to another video. So let's say you're out there taking photos and you've had an intuitive moment, a gut feeling or a moment of excitement that there's a photo somewhere in the scene in front of you. That's what I call the moment of inspiration, which I've talked about in a previous video. So now you have to start to build your photo, to construct it and to compose it. And so what you can do is to take the rule of thirds grid or the golden ratio grid or whatever grid you prefer and start positioning it in the scene in front of you, placing the intersection points on the important parts of the scene. And then maybe place the horizon on one of the horizontal lines. And every now and then you're going to take a really nice photograph. The only thing is, for me, is that I have never ever in my entire life ever composed a photo in this way. Never. So I'm going to teach you the instinctive and intuitive way that I have always done it. And because it's intuitive and instinctive, then it tends to work pretty much every time. And once combined with that initial instinctive moment, your hit rate, so to speak, will rise significantly. And it's a method that can be broken down into a number of techniques, and that's what I'll be summarising in this video. My name's Tony Eveling, a landscape photographer from the UK, and I took all of the photos that you see in this video. And if you get anything from this video, then please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so that you never miss a video. The techniques you're about to learn will also explain why the rule of thirds works when it works, and why the golden ratio works when it works, and ditto the Nautilus shell and all of those other compositional templates. But these techniques will work all the time, as long as they are combined with that moment of inspiration. And firstly, we have placement. Placement is the placement of objects on the edge of the frame, which is an important decision to make when composing images. So sometimes an object is so big that it has to be inside the frame, but must also leave the frame. And the trick here is to have enough of the object in the frame so that it looks like it's meant to be there. And also that it's instantly recognizable to the viewer. Anything that is unrecognizable will jar with the viewer of an image. This also applies to objects wholly within the frame, but very close to the edge. If an object looks too close to the edge, it risks dragging the eye away from the subject, because people become curious as to what is outside of the photo. If that happens, then you can totally trash a potentially engaging photograph. Placement allows you to have objects leaving the frame, but without jarring the viewer at all. You just have to have enough of that object in the frame in order to make it recognizable. So secondly, there's separation. And this is all about ensuring that there's adequate space between all of the objects in the frame. Every object in the frame should be as recognizable as possible when viewing the image for the first time. Every object needs to sit in its own space. And that's all that I'm going to say about that for now. Except that what I've just said also relates to the rule of thirds. This is kind of what the rule of thirds attempts to do, but rather than be guided by your intuitive moment, as in my placement, separation and balance techniques, the rule of thirds tells you where the important objects should go, regardless of the scene in front of you, therefore taking away from your intuitive moment, and therefore making you less creative, therefore making more of your images less engaging overall. And then thirdly, there is balance. In its most simple form, balance is ensuring that in the final finished image, the eye is led straight to the subject without distraction or interference from any other object in the frame. Balance also means that there are no aspects of the photograph that jars with the viewer at all. Achieving balance can be done in two ways. Firstly, try not to have distracting objects lying around in the composition. They will drag the eye away from the subject, which will then jar with the viewer. Pitch black areas or pure white areas may drag the eye away from the subject, creating a jarring effect on the viewer. And so secondly, we can rebalance an image by using post-processing techniques. By lightening areas and darkening areas, we can create an evenness of exposure that helps the eye find the subject. You can also balance an image by having objects of equal visual weight in appropriate parts of the image. So balance encompasses a number of techniques to ensure that the photo does not jar with the viewer. And here's an example of all three of these techniques: placement, separation and balance. With this rural scene of this country lane in the UK, I had roughly this vision of the black and white image in my mind's eye before I pressed the shutter. I didn't so much see a black and white version, But I did see that tunnel effect, and this bright area was very much diminished when I had my moment of inspiration. And then imagined that final finished photograph, which ended up as this. The final version is more about graphic shapes and colour, and so I removed the colour in order to eliminate any potential distractions created by the colours in the image. So here are the important objects in the scene, and as you can see, they're all separated from neighbouring objects and can all be instantly recognised. And I didn't have to do very much to make that happen. When I took this photo, I was cycling along this road and this scene appeared, which automatically triggered that moment of inspiration. And then I trusted my instincts to get this photo. And this area here is the subject of the image because that's where I, the photographer, want the viewer's eye to go to when viewing the photo. The gate is not the subject, but it was part of my moment of inspiration. And in the purely compositional sense, the trees are also not the subject, neither is the road, but they are all objects in their own right, and they all have to be positioned somehow. And then I've employed placement here, where the road is allowed to leave the frame. The road has to leave the frame at some point, but I also need to use it to pull the viewer's eye into the frame. So there needs to be enough, but not too much, of the road in the photo. These areas here are to do with separation, as I am separating these objects from the edge of the frame, and in this context the edge of the frame becomes an object. There needs to be a bit of space in these areas to give these objects some breathing space so that the eye doesn't have the urge to want to know what's outside the frame. And if they're too close to the edge of the frame, then that may happen. As long as you remove those jarring feelings, then it doesn't matter how little or how much objects are separated from each other. And these areas here frame the photo and help push the eye into the photo, which helps the eye on its way to the subject. And these much larger objects, the trees, are allowed to leave the frame here, which is placement. And all of these decisions are tied to the initial moment of inspiration. Once you learn to trust your instincts, this more mechanical stuff will be easy and take only seconds to make those decisions. And then I've used post-processing to balance the image overall in order to reinforce my original moment of inspiration. So the original straight off the sensor version is compositionally correct, but the balance is out due to how the sensor records light. The green doesn't help either, and it doesn't really represent what I saw in my mind's eye when I was there. But once I get it into Lightroom, I can restore the balance of the image so that I got something perfectly in line with my original moment of inspiration. And these three techniques form the foundation of every photo I take. You'll see these processes in every single image that I publish. These processes give me the freedom to place objects anywhere in the frame in order to create consistently engaging photographs that have an originality to them that is absolutely unique to me, which enables me to create my photographic style. And the same will happen to you if you learn them, employ them in your photography and perfect them so that you use them almost subconsciously, just as I do. So that is a very brief summary of those techniques. And don't forget to like this video, and if you want to see more like this, then hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so that you don't miss a video. Okay, so placement, balance and separation are kind of mechanical processes that plug into my intuitive response to a scene. And those compositional templates, such as the rule of thirds, do much the same thing. They are mechanical templates that help you to position objects in a frame. However, my natural and organic system has flexibility built into it. It's one single system that can create any type of composition in any set of circumstances. Whereas those compositional templates are really quite arbitrary and only work when they work. More often than not, a compelling photograph will not conform to the rule of thirds. So what do you use when the rule of thirds doesn't work? And how do you know that it's not going to work for the particular scene in front of you? Because I don't know the answers to those questions because I don't use the rule of thirds. I'd be very interested if anyone could answer those questions in the comments below. I know that people become emotionally attached to the rule of thirds and can become positively evangelical about dynamic symmetry, and I kind of understand that. Because every now and then you're going to get a big whopper of a photograph by using a template. So you may be a bit skeptical about the processes that you've learned in this video. So why not open your mind a teeny weeny bit and go out and give this a go? Just go out locally to a park or wherever and wait for moments of inspiration to come to you, and then trust your instincts and then employ these techniques. Why not just give it a go? You've got nothing to lose. And if you do give it a go, then tell me in the comments how it went. And for the best results, you need to have that intuitive moment. And that is what I call the moment of inspiration, something that I regard as being the most important rule in photography. And if you want to know what that most important rule in photography is, then check out this video right here.